I am at Wallacavage, and this is my house in South Philadelphia. And this is the front parlor room. And I'm sorry I'm boring you. I got this house 13 years ago, and it was it's an old Victorian brownstone. When I bought it in 2000, I tore everything apart and kind of made it back into the original layout. And then I learned how to do all the plaster molding stuff, which is what all this is. I just wanted a elaborate, ornate house, and so that's what I did all this stuff. And basically that all turned into the desire to make chandeliers, and because I had no money and plaster was cheap, and I figured it out and I started making chandeliers, and I kept doing that. This is my Jim Hauser art gallery, and this is the kitchen, which is sort of circus themed, kinda. It's the one part of the house that I could put more of the kitschy stuff kitchen. And this is the original room that I started to do the chandeliers for. I wanted to do like an Art Nouveau room. I didn't know what I was doing at all. I had no skills in plaster work or sculpting really when I did this. So I just was finding pieces in the trash. I have pieces of molding. I found this in New York City, and in the trash, and I made a mold of it. And this is a piece of picture frame molding, and this piece of plastic mirror. And I made latex molds of these, and poured plaster, and then repeated it, and then covered all the ceilings and walls with plaster, which is glued it on there. And it was really fun. It was very easy. And back when I started, there wasn't stuff on the internet. So it was actually my neighbor was like, oh yeah, they back in the day they would cut a thing out with the plaster and slide it. And that was the only instructions I had on to do the top crown molding, and I figured it out. I've learned a lot since, but it was pretty basic in the beginning. And I wanted this also to be for my photography, because I was a photographer. I still am a photographer, but I wanted an elaborate house, so I have different places to take pictures. But then it turned into making this stuff. So, and then the chandeliers, like I said, were because I wanted these things I couldn't afford, and so I just figured out how to make them instead. And very liberating to be able to make what you want instead of buying it when you don't have money. So that's what I do. And then this is the backyard, which the Philadelphia Electric Company came when I was in California and cut down all my bamboo, which I was very upset about, because this whole thing just was nothing. You couldn't see anything but bamboo. This is a newer room I did last winter, the Opium Den. I'm babysitting in this bed for my friend's parents. I don't really sleep in here. It's too decadent. I've been trying for years to get a photo of those guys. You hear that noise and you have to run to the window to try to get a picture of those guys doing wheelies down the street. Never been able to do it yet because it's too quick. So my studio is up here. This is the third floor. It was supposed to be a master bathroom, but this is my spray paint room. I got really into doing this molding stuff, and so I just went kind of crazy. It was like my hobby for a long time was just, all right, I just want to see what I could do, and I just kept making stuff. This is a secret sauce room. Pieces I make, they look like, I want them to look like glass or ceramic. These are now hand sculpted with the epoxy clay, and then painted in resins. So it looks like ceramic, but obviously the reason I didn't want to do ceramic is because of limitations of having to have a kiln and doing all that. But the way I make these is with the threaded pipe that goes inside to take the wires for the lamps. It just makes it way easier, and then the resin gives it a glass look. And these ones glow in the dark. And this is my main studio where I come up with all the ideas and sculpt and put things together. Sometimes I don't even know what I'm doing. I'll just make stuff, and so I have all these pieces and parts in case I need to make something. I found a couple businesses, these old factories that went out of business in Philadelphia, where they were making these plaster, kitschy, I don't know what you call it, stuff. And I just thought it was so cool. And it was so sad to see these places being, they're gone. Because I like the idea of plaster, because it's such a simple thing to make. You just dump powder and water and mix it, and then you pour it into these molds, and then you have a thing. And it's so much fun, and it's so simple, and you could do it anywhere in your house, almost. And so one of the things I've been doing for this show is just finding these old pieces that I found, and then kind of incorporating it with what I know how to sculpt. I just find sort of kitschy, kind of classical looking things, and I just remodified them. So brilliant. I have a master's degree. This is like this. These are the cobra snakes. I've been working on these for a while, and they kind of came out really funny. Like I'm not sure if I mean, I was very inspired as a child from my neighbors who were Italian. I thought they had the coolest stuff in their house, and it was all like, you know, golds and blacks and things like this. And I had this idea of making this really scary, but it kind of came out like very 70s, and unintentionally, but maybe subconsciously it came out that way. I wanted to learn how to make something I could make anywhere. So I started sculpting with wire and masking tape, the beginning parts of it. So I could be wherever and just sit there and kind of make something out of wire. You make a frame, and then you cover it in tape, put it all together, and then I sculpt the clay on it. It's really fun because I really can make anything out of that. This is all for my show at Jonathan Levine Gallery in New York City that opens on October 19th. I have about 14, 15 pieces. It's called Magic Mountain. Kind of idea of it is this house and being here for 13 years and being up on this third floor studio, and just kind of all the things that have come in the house and all the people who have visited this house, and all, it kind of created an energy of its own. It's an endless source of inspiration on its own, which is kind of weird. But so it's the idea of just what comes out of here and what could be created from all the things inside of this house.